Well, welcome to our demo day today. And today we are going to be covering the VT650 and 900A gas flow analyzers and vapor anesthesia tester, and some of the useful accessories that are available. Before we start, we've prepared a short video for you. Before we play that, I want to do a quick poll of our audience. So if we could go ahead and launch the poll. All right, we'll go ahead and close the poll and share with everyone. So great. So we have about 69% for product knowledge and readiness, 14% planning to purchase, just want to learn more, and we have about 17% that have purchased the product and want to ensure that if they have any questions, we'll be here to answer. Well, great. Well, thank you, everyone. Well, I'm going to go ahead and play the video for you guys.
My name is Michael Raich, and I'm a product specialist with Fluke Biomedical. Today, I'm going to walk you through our VT gas flow analyzer product family. And in front of me, I have the VT900A. This is our high-end model, but we also have the VT650, and I'll touch on some of those differences as I walk through the product. The first thing I want to touch on is that we have a single flow channel. It does high and low flow, so you don't need to carry any modules and you don't need to switch test setups. So this is a really big game changer here. The other thing to point out is that it automatically compensates for temperature, pressure, and humidity. So if we go to more data, you can see that we take a temperature, humidity, and barometer measurement. So if you're taking extra test equipment with you to make those measurements, you don't have to anymore. If you're doing math on the side to compensate, you don't have to anymore. This will do it for you. If we move to the front of the unit, we have low and high pressure ports here at the front, available on both models. And then we have ultra low pressure and ultra low flow here at the front. This is available on the VT900A and gives you higher fidelity, higher accuracy measurements for applications such as oxygen concentrators or anesthesia machines. So that's when you're going to want to think about that. If we move to the back of the unit, we have a USB port here where you can pull off your test results because there's onboard memory on this unit as well as an 8-hour battery. So this is truly an all-day, on-the-go tester. You can use the Excel add-in to pull those off onto your test report or work order, and that's available on both units. There's the connection to the vapor anesthesia tester if you need to test vaporizers. There's an external TTL trigger port here, as well as power. So again, the TTL trigger and vapor are only available on the VT900A. There's also an integrated oxygen sensor. So on the VT900A, you're going to have a 1% accuracy and a 2-year life, and on the VT650, you're going to have a 2% accuracy and a 1-year life. But again, it's integrated, you can't lose it, you can't misplace it, and you only have to replace it when its lifetime is used up. Some integrating handle options that I'm going to touch on a little bit later, and a tilt-up bail here that puts your unit at a 45-degree angle so that you're able to read it as you put it on a tabletop. The one thing that you'd probably notice first was the 7-inch color touchscreen display. So here on the airway screen, you can see that flow, pressure, volume, and oxygen are all displayed numerically. You also have the flexibility to show that graphically, so that's something that's really nice to have. On the breath view screen, you can show all 16 breath parameters, or if your procedure doesn't call for that, I went ahead and customized view 1 to show only volume, pressure, and flow, and that made those readouts larger. So again, that's easier. You can save from any screen by pressing save, and that's going to save it to a test ID. A test ID is the asset ID of the medical device you're testing. So if you go to menu, you can configure that and type in whatever it is that you want. The other thing that's nice is test profiles. So test profile is the brand and model of medical device that you're testing. In this case, I called it a Philips V60. What can you do to that? Well, if you go back to menus in setup, you can set up your gas type, your correction mode. You can go back and set up any units you want and just change those very quickly, but you can save it all under a test profile. So again, all that setup you have to do between brand and model, you don't have to do anymore because all you have to do is show up and press load. Press load, make your connections, you're ready to go test. This saves you time every single day. So the other option on test profiles is that you can load it at startup. So if you're testing one brand and model consistently, you can have that load right at startup and make it even faster for you. Yeah, so again, this is the VT900A. Some of the differences between that and the VT650 is oxygen saturation accuracy, the availability of the connection to the vapor anesthesia tester, external TTL trigger, and the ultra low flow and ultra low pressure ports here at the front. Other things that are helpful to note is the accuracy of both of those units. That was one of our biggest focus points when we were developing the product. So we used the Fluke Molblock L system to give us those really high accuracy measurements. And the other thing is, for new and used units, you can get an ISO 17025 accredited calibration. So again, if you need more trust in your measurements, that's available from Fluke Biomedical as well. Portability, right? Size and weight have been dramatically reduced. If you know our VT Plus, this is much smaller. And we've thought about where you have to do your work. An anesthesia table is not large. So, you need to have a smaller footprint, and we've kind of really helped that along. In terms of, your workspace, you're going to bump your product, right? So if it gets bumped, it's not going to move. We have rubberized feet on that. If it falls off, this is a ruggedized unit. We have drop tested it from 1 meter on all 6 sides. It will take a beating, but you do want to make sure that your unit's calibrated afterwards because we're dealing with patient safety at the end of the day. So moving from place to place, we talked about those handles. So these just pop right into the unit, right here on the back, and you can carry it around very easily because this unit does not weigh that much. It also integrates with some of the shoulder straps that are available with the unit. And again, you can put those shoulder straps on your case, which easily fits a VT and a vapor anesthesia tester in there, along with all your accessories. So you'll get your accessories to start. Again, you'll get your fittings, you'll get a filter, you'll get some tubing right in the unit, and you're ready to go, right? The other thing that I did not touch on were these 4 holes on the back. This is a Visa mount, just like on your TV, but it hooks up to this accessory. So this plate, you can screw right into the back, and then this clamp can go on any polar post that you want to work on, whether that's an IV pole or whether that's something that you have at your workbench and you want to have it, more permanently mounted. So those are a lot of great options that give you a lot of flexibility in terms of where you work and how you work, because we know the world is changing. Another thing you want to think about in your test procedure is a calibrated test lung. So here we have the Acculung 2, but if you need more adjustability, we also have the Acculung, which allows you to simulate more degraded patient conditions, but that's available from us as well. So with that, I want to kind of jump into the vapor anesthesia tester. So here's the unit, just a little add-on to the VT900A, and you just have to make the connection to the VT900A, and once it's plugged in and you go to the airway screen, the blue anesthesia button will pop up. So if we press that, we're now on the anesthesia screen, but you need to turn the unit on. There's a pump in here. It's going to pull from your mainstream because it's a side stream testing. So if we take this accessory that we get started with, it's a T, so it's going to pull from that mainstream, but we gave you guys a really nice connector here to make sure that you guys feel confident that you're not going to have any leaks. And this is just going to get you started. So it's going to hook up to your mainstream and you're ready to go. This does have a warm-up time. The VT900A is basically instantaneously warmed up along with the VT650, but the vapor does have a warm-up time. So you're going to see it go through multiple statuses until it comes up to warm-up accuracy. If this meets your test procedure accuracy, you're free to go testing now. If you need to wait for full accuracy, don't worry about that warm-up time. It doesn't have to be a big deal because you can go back to the airway screen or breath view screen and do all of your ventilator testing while that warms up, because it's going to keep that going. So no big deal there. You don't really have to worry about that warm-up time. So we're in warm-up accuracy, and I'm just going to throw it into demo mode to show you guys what this has. So N2O and CO2 are always there. Those are carrier gases, but they're overdosable. So we want to make sure those get measured. And then you'll see that the different agents come in. We measure all 5 agents, and we measure them automatically. So there's automatic agent ID. We're going to tell you, or Vapor is going to tell you what it sees and not what you tell it to see. So there's no need to cycle power to switch agents. This is going to do everything for you. You'll also see that those colors pop up. So every agent that's identified will match with its international color code. So from a distance, you'll be able to see if everything checks out. There's also 2 agents popping up. We're the only ones on the market that can measure 2 agents at the same time. And the purpose of this is so that you're really testing the entire anesthesia delivery system. You're not just testing the vaporizer alone, you're testing the interlock system as well. Because if 2 agents are being deployed at the same time, something's wrong and you know you have to fix it. So this is another great thing that only Vapor can do for you. You're still able to use the battery life, you're still able to use the onboard memory and save your results. This is a really great package that's really going to cover all of your medical gas flow testing needs in your hospital or place of work. So again, if you want to learn anything more, feel free to go to flukebymedical.com, reach out to our technical support team, or go to Advantage Training, where we have some free on-demand training on these products. So we look forward to hearing from you soon. Talk to you later.
Received some questions, so I want to go ahead and start rolling through them. Can you use 1QA with any of these products, the VT650 and 900A?
You can. When COVID hit, we definitely shifted into high gear on developing 1QA for VT. So you can use 1QA with the VT650 and the VT900A. Vapor is not yet available, but it is on our roadmap.
Great, thank you, Mike. And one other thing, the differences between the VTs you showed today, what is the difference between the two and then the VT Plus?
Okay. Yeah, for those of you that are using a VT Plus, I talked about a couple of things. The most recent being the warm-up time, right? That's one big change. The biggest thing is usability, right? The VT Plus was a large benchtop tester, and now we've moved to a much more portable, all-day on-the-go tester with memory. We have the test profiles. We have the 7-inch color touchscreen display, battery. So it's a much different product than it was before. And the biggest thing is, half the size, half the weight. It truly is a game changer there. Setup time is another thing. You don't have a high flow and a low flow port anymore. You're able to do it all through one connection that does both high and low flow. And then you have the addition of ultra low flow and ultra low pressure. Those are all features that are additive, right, or improved upon the VT Plus. So truly a step forward in the gas flow analyzer market.
Great, thank you, Mike. We're getting quite a few questions rolling in now, and I'm just going to start rolling through them. Some of these we may have to take offline. It may require a little bit more explanation than what we have time for. But we had a question about I think it's the O2 sensor on the VT900A on the when you had to replace that. I think you mentioned it in your presentation.
Yeah, so that's one of the differences between the two products. So the VT650 has a lower, or let's say, it is less accurate, right, at 2%, and has a 1-year cell life. And again, cell life is based off of usage, right? So if you're a high user, you have to replace it more frequently. But recommended is definitely the 1 year. And the VT900A has a 1% accuracy, so more accurate, and a 2-year life. So you have to replace it less frequently.
Great, thank you, Mike. Let's see. We have some questions about how to connect Vapor and the VT900A to an anesthesia machine.
Oh, yeah.
We might be able to talk to that a little bit, but we don't have a machine with us.
We don't have a machine, but I did fail to show you guys the accessory that it comes with. So when you get Vapor, it does come with an accessory. And again, this was in the video and I missed it, so thank you for the question. We have a quick connect that connects to the bottom of Vapor on the input, right? So you get a very positive connection here that won't fall off. So you can be really confident that you have a leak-proof connection here. And we give you a connection here that allows for 15 and 22 millimeter adjustments. So it gives you some flexibility in terms of what your setup is. And it allows you to get started. This will allow you to do testing, and it may force you to route gas through your whole system. So it might take time until you can get a reading. So do know that. But again, this is to get you started. Those of you that have went to service school, you might have gotten a kit that can go right into the fresh gas outlet, allow you to get much faster readings, much more direct readings. And again, you guys are biomeds, you guys can improvise with the best of them. But yeah, this is meant to get you started and give you a good base. But yes, this would be how you would connect it. And then you can go from there to something more advanced, like going to the fresh gas outlet.
Great, thank you, Mike. Another quick question. How much memory can you store on the VT900A?
Yeah, so I believe it's up to 1,000 test results, which is much, much more than you should do in 8 hours. So you can go multiple days recharging and keep populating those results. Yeah, I don't know the exact number, but it's quite a bit.
To follow up on that question, how do you access the results from the VT900A?
Sure.
Well,
so there are a
I guess
couple
there's
ways.
a couple ways.
Yeah. So one is just going to memory. So again, I showed you guys the test ID. So this is just calling it to a general test ID. But when you get into, you'll have a list of all the assets that you did test and the test results associated with them. So that is one thing. So if we just list those out, I don't know what I tested, but you can see here that I have airway data as well as airway flow graph. So again, anything you test will be listed here, listed under that test ID, which is your asset ID. So you can access it right here, and I can view. So let's view this graph that I made. Oh, down, view. So this is the graph I made way back when, but you can view it right there on your VT, and that's one way that you can record your or take your data down. The other way is here on the back. So I talked about this USB right here. You'll be able to attach that with the cable we provide, use the Excel add-in and pull all of that data into Excel and be able to append that to your work order.
Great, thank you, Mike. We're getting some similar questions here, but
I'm trying to follow along as well.
then the cable that we use to transfer the data, does that come with the VT900A? I believe the USB cable does.
The USB cable does. I'm trying to see if I can dig it out of my kit here, but yep. So you'll get this cable here. So you have the USB connector that goes into the VT on this end, and then onto your PC on this end. So this comes with the unit, so you're ready to go in terms of pulling data off your VT right from the get-go. And yeah, while we're on accessories, it is gonna come with a set of tubing, right? So you'll get some flexible tubing that comes with the unit as well. And like I said, my kit's disheveled. You'll also get some adapters. You'll get a getting started guide. Let me see if I still have my adapters in there. Yeah, and you'll get a set of adapters similar to this. Again, 15, 22, just to make sure that you guys have the flexibility to make whatever connections you need to do to get your testing done, as well as filters. So one thing I did note in the questions was there was one about keeping everything clean, keeping things disinfected. A big way to do that is extending the life of your gas flow analyzer by using filters and replacing them regularly. These aren't very expensive, but what it does is it keeps things out of your analyzer, out of the sensor, to make sure it keeps that accuracy for longer. Because we are dealing with a breathing circuit, we are dealing with patients, and there are things that we want to keep out of there. So this is another thing that's provided with the unit, but you do want to replace these regularly to get the best readings.
Great, thank you, Mike. I think we have time for one more here. What types of medical devices can you test with the VT?
Okay, this is one thing that I like talking about because the name VT implies ventilator tester, right? But it's so much more than that. It really should be thought of as a gas flow analyzer. So anything that does exert a flow, pressure, or volume in the medical field is something that this could test. So again, you're using flow, pressure, volume on the VT, oxygen concentration on the VT as well. And then with vapor, you can do CO2 and N2O concentration, as well as the 5 anesthetic agents. So again, you have your ventilators, you have your anesthesia machines, but you also have insufflators, exsufflators, neonatal ventilators, and even think beyond. Like, you have wall regulators that you could test. You have pneumatic tools that you could test, surgical tools. Patient bed mattresses. Really, think of this as being able to test all of those things because of its capability. So don't think that this is only a ventilator tester. It truly does test products across the medical gas spectrum.
Great, thank you, Mike. I think we'll probably do one more here, and I think it's question about calibration and warranty on the VT900A. Can you share with us on that?
So Fluke Biomedical product comes with a 1-year warranty out of the box, and what you can do is send your unit back into a Fluke service center. And if you do that for your first year's calibration, we will add on a 2nd-year warranty to that. So really, as long as you get it serviced at a Fluke Biomedical Service Center, you have a 2-year warranty effectively.
Great, thank you, Mike. Well, I think we're a little over time. I really appreciate everyone joining us today, and